is underway. Good launch there from Sample. Not a bad launch from the middle from Perry McCarthy as well as they come down towards the first corner. Very close action indeed. Look at that on the inside. Dietmar Brandt is shoveled out and he's into the wall at the first turn. So contact there with Werner Panhauser, sending him into the barrier. Dietmar Brandt's race weekend goes from bad to worse as he ends up in the barrier at the start of Q2.
Yeah, so not only has he got to do a penalty lap, but he's also in the barrier as well. So all the way at the back of this field, he's not going to be able to set a good time. And, well, arguably, he's not going to be able to make up the positions as well. We can't even see him in shot at the moment. So we're not sure if he's managed to get going from the incident in the wall, but you can see Ronnie Searock now trying to make moves, and there's Dietmar Brandt again with drama down at a different part of the circuit. So he's really not having the race he wanted now this time out.
I think that was him just getting out of the barrier at turn 1, so it's taken him a long time to try and clear that. He'll be lucky if he's not suffered any damage. Yellow flags in theory will be flying if he's not been able to clear that car at turn 1. He has been able to get just out of harm's way there, so good to see he's back on the straight and narrow, but very much down the back of the pecking order. So it's Ronnie Sample that leads the way from Werner Panhauser here on lap 2 in Q2. Ronnie Searock there in 3rd position as well. You can see the gap relatively close between all these drivers. Then it's Perry McCarthy in P4. He was piling the pressure onto Ronnie actually, and let's keep an eye out and see whether Perry can try and turn things around and hopefully fight off the flu that he is suffering from and get himself in contention for a good finish here. But look at the pace that Panhauser's got. He's really closing up onto the back of Ronnie Sample here, and he's beginning to put the pressure onto him as Sample runs a bit wide, and that allows Panhauser to close up even more, as well as Ronnie Searock coming into play.
Yeah, so the concertina effect here of everybody, of course, one person in front making a mistake and everybody catching up. So it's really closed up the race here for Q2. Panhauser again seems to have more speed on the way into turn 1. He flew the car over the crest there sideways, and then Ronnie Searock now all over the back of Panhauser. So Panhauser dropped back a little bit in the first couple of corners, and Ronnie Searock is now up with him to give him company.
Yeah, despite that sideways landing on there, it actually compromised his drive going to turn 2. And Ronnie Searock's got a problem. So more issues here for Ronnie Searock. That is a huge, huge shame for the German driver fighting in podium contention. He now drops down into 4th place. Perry McCarthy inherits 3rd. But look at Panhauser all over the back of Ronnie Sample and up the inside. There's contact between them as they come through the left-hander. Brilliantly close action, and Sample just manages to hold off the charge of his fellow Austrian driver as things stand.
Yeah, Panhauser not quite able to get the rotation of the car there through that gravel hairpin. I think if he'd been a little bit more sideways, he maybe would have been able to stick it up the inside of Ronnie Sample, but not quite able to do it on this time out, although he's still got a lap and a half now to try and make his way up into that 1st position.
I tell you what, Perry McCarthy's doing a great job actually of keeping the pace of these top 2 as they squabble amongst one another, and he'll be ready to try and pick up the pieces if anything goes wrong. But Ronnie Sample there just pulling out a little bit of a gap here in this 2nd sector. That's where he looks to be strong, but he seems to struggle in this final tighter section. That's where Panhauser really closes up.
Yeah, Panhauser really late on the brakes as he comes into this hairpin section. You can see him closing up again. He's going for the inside, but Ronnie Sample's wise to it this time. He's got it covered off, so no room there for Panhauser to try and make a move as they come up to the uphill, really tight right-hander once again. And the gap there seems to be staying about the same. Panhauser maybe got a slight better exit on the way out, but then Ronnie Sample is still got that gap, so Panhauser not quite able to launch an attack. He's still now only got 1 lap left to go to try and make up that place to Ronnie Sample.
You can see there Panhauser was going very defensive into that, Sample was going very defensive against Panhauser into that 1st corner, trying to hold off the charge of his Austrian compatriot, trying to find his way through, a little bit wide there through the 2nd phase of that left-hander for Sample, but it doesn't compromise his drive there too much, and Panhauser is still putting the pressure onto Ronnie Sample, but all Ronnie Sample needs to do is keep it on the straight and narrow, keep his line and the constant going into this final sector, brake later as he does, and is able to hold off the charge of Panhauser. That is absolutely brilliant stuff there from Ronnie Sample and Werner Panhauser, the 2 Austrians fighting hammer and tong in Q2 race 1 here, but it's Ronnie Sample who comes around the final corner to take victory in Q2 race 1 in Hungary. Brilliant race between those 2. McCarthy does inherit 3rd position and finishes on the top 3 spots over the line. Brilliant race from those drivers. Dietmar Brandt will finish in 4th. And Ronnie Searock sadly will not finish in 5th position. That DNF there for him. Did Dietmar Brandt get going again? We saw he had those dramas. Did he pull off the circuit? We haven't seen him come over the line as things stand. So it could just be the 3 drivers finishing then here in Q2.